Alright, in this video I will be doing some paint touch-ups on my Mazda 3. Initially I was going to do a comparison and try and make a conclusion of which product's better, but in the end I think they're different products for different types of people and maybe even different types of problems. So the first thing I got is obviously this Mazda 3 touch-up pen. If you know how to use a Sharpie, it's pretty much the same thing. There's not too much to this thing. It's paint and clear coat in one, and you can see you got to squeeze it a little bit to get the paint to come out. And this paint color, I think it's 38R or R38. 38R is what it says on that receipt. It works pretty good, and it is it's pretty basic in what you get, but it works, and the color does match pretty good. But you definitely have to squeeze it, and that's something I didn't expect from some of the other paint touch-up pens I've gotten. This paint pen cost $28, and in my opinion, this pen is probably the thing that is a little bit better for me because of how many rock chips I have. I've got hundreds of rock chips, so it is the easier thing to use. And it's also good if you don't really want to do a whole bunch of work, if you just want to be done with it quickly and don't really care about your vehicle paint that much. Now the second product I got is something called Scratcheshappen. It's the little QR code there. I'll put a link in the description. I think they sell it on Amazon and stuff like that. And for me, this kit wasn't maybe the ideal thing because of just how many rock chips I have. Literally hundreds, and it takes a long time. I think this kit is better suited for someone with one or two chips and has the time to just really focus on those rock chips, as opposed to just saying, you know what, I just got to get this done with. I don't have like 3 weeks to sit here primering and painting hundreds of chips. So you get the primer, you get a clear coat, and you get a paint. And I found that this as well was a good color match. It's not too far off. In fact, I would say it's right on the money. And you also get a few paint brushes and toothpicks. I didn't really use the toothpicks for anything. I think this kit is good for someone who wants to do a little bit more time and invest a little bit more effort on some individual scratches, because I think you can get a better result with this product than you can get with the paint pen. So I do think both products are good, and I think both products have their place, but they're for different types of people and for different situations. Even if you wanted to do a good job, if you have hundreds of little rock chips, this would be a little bit of a pain to make everyone look really good. I think once spring rolls around again, I'm going to just sand the whole hood of my vehicle and try and do a respray on the old Mazda 3 here. But for now, I'm going to give this a shot. The one other thing that I break out is my Nissan paint touch-up pen from Duplicolor. Now this is something other people should do. So if the Scratcheshappen company is watching, I would recommend you include one of these sanding sticks. I don't know where to buy them, but they come on the Duplicolor pens, and it's just this little ceramic sanding stick, and it's great for getting off little pieces of old paint that are on the car, scratching out the rust, that sort of thing. So I would rather see that in the Scratcheshappen kit instead of those toothpicks, because quite frankly I have enough toothpicks in my kitchen. So here's a close-up of the hood. You can see, like I said, there's, I don't know, that's an area not even the size of my hand. You can see like 20 rock chips in there, and it's like that absolutely everywhere. There's literally hundreds on the hood. They're on the side. There's like little hail chips on the roof. They're just everywhere. So that's the reason why the Scratcheshappen kit's a bit of a pain. I think I'm going to come back in the spring and just really focus down on one rock chip, because I for this I tried to do them all, and it wasn't happening. It took like the whole day, and that's without really putting a great deal of effort into any of the chips, right? Just coming around and doing the primer and coming back for the paint. So the first thing I'm going to try out is the Mazda Paint Pen. And just for interest's sake, it's about 55 Fahrenheit when I'm doing this. It actually snows the next morning, so that's why I kind of cut this one off and didn't progress any further with it. The temperature just turned on me, got a little bit too late before winter. So just using the Mazda little Duplicolor pen there to scratch off some of the rust and paint. I've also done some of them where I didn't scratch it off, so I want to see if there's much difference and how important it is to scratch off the rust before putting in the paint. So I am going to come back in the spring and see how these fared over the course of a Canadian winter. Obviously, just like any paint, you're going to want to give it a good shake and you're going to want to wipe off any of that rust dust so that your paint doesn't lift off too easily. And like I said, if you can work a Sharpie marker, you can definitely work this Mazda Paint Pen. The paint match is good. I think that you probably have to come around and do the Mazda Paint Pen twice after it dries off, because it does sort of settle out into the rock chip, so you do see a little bit of an indentation, but that would be up to the individual. If you're happy with how it looks after one coat, good to go. If you're not happy with how it looks after one coat because it's a bit of a divot, come around and just hit it up with another coat of paint and everything's good. And then I'll do the Mazda Paint Pen one more time from a different angle, and you can see the little ceramic sanding stick in action. If you know where to buy just a straight up sanding stick like that, just throw that information down in the comments, because I've yet to find one anywhere. And to fill in the chip, like I said, just squeeze the paint pen, dab it a few times just like you're using a Sharpie or a marker. Pretty straightforward, and then it does sink in a little bit as it dries. So you can see it does an okay job. I mean, even just with one coat. Not perfect, but not bad either. And the big selling point on the Mazda Paint Pen is you can get through a lot of rock chips very fast. Now, one thing I didn't find the Mazda Paint Pen really made disappear, and it might be the color of my vehicle's paint, is some of these scratches. So it was pretty good with the rock chips, but for these scratches, I don't know, it's still really obvious. Whereas on my Nissan, it was actually the other way. The scratches disappeared better than the rock chips. But again, it could be just because of the color or because of the lighting, that kind of thing. And you can see I got a whole bunch of little chips on the roof of the vehicle too. I do fill all those in with paint, just so I'm trying to stop the rust from spreading, but I might even come back and respray the roof in the spring as well. Now, switching over to the Scratcheshappen, I am once again using the Duplicolor sanding stick on all the rust spots, and I do put the video in fast motion from here on out just to speed things up a little bit. And what I do is 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of paint, then 2 coats of clear coat. And I'm using the little white dabber. So in between coats I wait about 30 minutes. Because it's cold out, if it was a little bit warmer, I would probably wait a little bit less time. And for this little test in this area, I do about 20 rock chips. And you can see that I've done a whole bunch of areas with the primer as well that are sort of outside of this initial area. So like I said, I came around twice with the primer, 30-minute wait between each, and now I'm coming around with the paint, and it's going to be the exact same thing. 2 coats of paint, 30 minutes between coats. And I'm using that little dabber and just dabbing it into each of the rock chips. So you can see just in this one section, about a foot wide and about a half a foot high, there's quite a few rock chips, and the whole hood's like that, so it does take quite a bit of time. And I didn't use the gloves that come with the Scratcheshappen. I didn't find it was a very messy product either. I got a few paint drops on me, but that's about it. And just like with the Mazda Paint Pen, the paint sort of settles into the rock chip as it dries. So you do need to come around and do a second coat so that it isn't recessed into the hood. Now it is slowly getting dark out because, like I said, this does take quite a long time, and you can see I've got a whole bunch of primered spots up above this. So after the 2 coats of paint, I'm just coming around with the clear coat in the exact same manner and just doing the dab. This is where they do have some options. They say you can use like a Q-tip and some alcohol if you've over painted or whatever and sort of rub it down. I didn't really do that. I just went straight in for the clear coat, and just to test this product out and see what I think. So just sort of delineate where the Scratcheshappen product is with my finger there, and you can see it's still all primered up above that. So I do have to come around really late and at a quite dark hour and fix that. So you can see even with 1 coat of clear coat, and obviously it's getting dark out and I got like a light on, but the Scratcheshappen stuff, it works good, the color matches, and it does disappear. I would say even a little bit better than the Mazda Paint Pens. I am happy with the Scratcheshappen product. Like I said, I think it's for someone that's going to want to spend a little more time on one or two scratches and not somebody who's going after 100 plus scratches on their hood, because you're just not going to spend the amount of time you should spend, and you're just not going to achieve the quality that the product's capable of achieving. In my opinion, for me, I would just go around with the Mazda Paint Pen and just hammer all these spots and be done with it. But like I said at the beginning, I think both products are great. Anyway, I am going to re-attack this in the spring. Thanks for checking out my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.